Ang video na to ay handog ni cdkoffers.com. Marami kang mahahanap na iba't ibang uri ng software dito. May games, apps, activation codes for Windows 10. Check out our video on CDK offers in the video description. Mabilis, mura, and syempre legit dito. Madali lang mag-order, search for the software you need, add to cart, check out, daan ka sa payment options nila, wala pa isang minuto, finished. May legit working CD key ka na sa software na pinili mo. Gamitin ang aming promo code para makakuha pa ng extra 20% discount sa purchase mo. Kung naghahanap ka ng mura, legit, and original software, check out cdkoffers.com.
Alright, what's up internet? So thank you for joining me for another episode of In the Shop where we are live from Hardware Sugar, and I was chatting with some of you guys before the stream proper started, and yeah, ECQ has been a bit difficult for us. One of our main techs is in Bataan. If you guys have been to the shop, you know Gerald. He's one of our two main techs, and he's been stuck in Bataan for the whole of ECQ basically. But we will be open for MEC. We've been open actually for ECQ, but not our usual schedule. We will be open for MECQ. I just need to figure out the schedule. To be honest, I only found out a few minutes ago na MECQ na pala tayo bukas, so we'll figure that out. But yeah, so let's do the stream. The first thing I want to talk about is the TUF Gaming Z590 plus Wi-Fi. That's an Intel Mobo that Asus has kindly lent to us, and we're gonna be doing a review on it. And in typical Hardware Sugar fashion, it's like, so we get a Mobo, why don't we just make a whole build? So let me just borrow this camera. And so our test bench, if you remember, our usual test bench is an M80X MacCube 110P, pink, sorry, not pink, in blue green, which Deepcool lent to us. We've changed it up a bit, so we have the Z590 Asus stuff in there as the motherboard, and this is an RX 580 or 570 in a Red Devil. Still using the PSU from Deepcool as what's running the thing. It's also a Deepcool case, the Matrix 55 add RGB 4F. So that's an addressable RGB with 4 fans, 3 in front and 1 in the back. We really didn't need to do this setup just so that we could test the motherboard for video review, but we decided why the heck not. And actually, one of the happy accidents, I didn't think about it, or I didn't notice it before, but the Z590 Asus stuff has a lot of nice heat sinks, and the way it aesthetically, the way it looks now, the heat sinks here on the left and on top kind of bracket the CPU block of the Kraken AIO. So it's a bit hard to tell because it's kind of dark, the cases against the light, but there's a nice kind of square bracket effect going on between the AIO and the heat sinks of the Mobo. And this motherboard does actually come with a lot of heat sinks, and Asus, one of the selling points that Asus emphasized to us is that it's very good for overclocking. Basically, the VRMs are the ones that translate the voltage from the PSU to a voltage or a wattage that the CPU can use, because the CPU requires a much lower wattage or much lower power than what's initially available through the PSU. So the VRMs are a big part of what makes a quality motherboard, and they're also a big part in how well you can overclock the CPU. So we'll be testing the Z590. Aside from the usual bells and whistles, we'll also be testing out its overclocking capabilities. And, just to have fun we throw in a Kraken X52 as the AIO, and it's in a pretty nice case, the Matrix 55 with an RX 570 or 580. And I think it's G-Skill 2X8 Trident Z. So that's what we have going on with this guy, the Z590 plus Wi-Fi. Based on my initial research, it's quite a snappy motherboard. It comes with 2 RGB headers and 2 ARGB headers. And if you remember some of my previous motherboard videos, I'm a big fan of having multiple of those, the 3-pin ARGB and the 4-pin RGB, because getting all of this RGB to work together can be quite confusing. So it's much easier on the user if the board comes with both ARGB and RGB. And yeah, and I also want to thank, I guess you can't see it, I'll just use this camera. Thank you, Asus, for the shirt. We're not reviewing the shirt. They just sent it to us. But we are reviewing this motherboard. Shout out, Carol Cooling. I saw one of your comments actually recently on YouTube. On the 50,000 video, I think it was. On don't let the mean comments get to me. Usually I don't. Usually, to be honest, I find them pretty funny. And I'm looking forward to doing the 60K vid where we'll really go in depth into the mean comments. I do want to say, before we begin, or at the start of the stream, thank you to our new YouTube members. So that's Allan, who's a first-time member. Thanks for joining us. David Go, who re-upped, and Melvin del Rosario, who re-upped, or basically resubscribed. Kasi YouTube asks you every month if you want to continue your membership. So thank you, Allan, for signing up for the first time, and thanks David Go and Melvin for re-upping for another month or another tour of duty with Hardware Sugar. The memberships really go a long way to what we want, and I mentioned this the last live in the shop, but the memberships help pay for this super bright thing. It's the Amaran 200D, which is the light behind that big soft box, and also the light stand and things like that. So the membership, what we get from the membership dues, go a long way to helping out the shop. I've explained in the membership video why, we're a shop, we sell stuff, we make a profit, so why do we need help from our membership on YouTube? And the short answer is because the shop has been supporting the channel for a long time, like with hardware and things like that. So we're trying to make the channel self-sustaining. One of the most important things is to actually get an editor so that the rest of us are free to do other things like shoot more videos, come up with more creative videos, come up with more creative angles. That's why we were able to do that types of PC builders video where you notice we tried a lot of different camera angles and a bit of acting and things like that. So we try to mix it up, keep things different. Para hindi lang puro review, hindi lang puro, it's the same kind of boring, like it's just me sitting down and talking. And the YouTube membership really helps us out with that, with adding production value and allowing us more staff. We got a full-time editor alongside our first full-time editor, who was actually our front-end graphics editor for the site and for our other projects. So it's really super helpful. Brian Yu, shout out Brian Yu from Facebook. Paul Edwards from Facebook, nag-add po ba sa heat yung mga RGB fans? I've talked about this in another video. I think it's the RGB video on the Bibilica series, but short answer, yes, they do, but it really doesn't matter. Think about it like you have a bucket of water tapos tinapon mo sa dagat. Nadagdagan ba yung tubig sa dagat? Yes, but does it matter? The fish care? Did the salinity of the water change? Nothing changes. The addition of the heat, anything with light, will generate heat. Even if it's cool to your touch, there's still some heat being generated there. So anything with light, and that includes RGB, there will be some residual heat. But it's such a minuscule, sobrang liit lang nung quantity na yon, na you don't even need to worry. You don't need to worry about it. It won't affect anything. It won't affect performance inside your case, inside your components. Tapos yun nga, one way to think about it is nagtapon ka nung bucket ng isang balde ng tubig sa dagat, nadagdagan ba yung tubig sa dagat? Yes, pero may naapektuhan ba? Nothing. Wala. That's just like the RGB in a computer case. And it doesn't matter how much RGB you put. It doesn't matter like if you have 4 fans, you have LED strips, you have, the entire circles of RGB you can toss into your rig, and the addition to the heat will be minuscule. Of course, nagdadagdag yun sa power consumption. Although, if RGB trips you up, that means really, really kulang na talaga yung PSU mo if RGB kind of trips up your computer. BJ David says very negligible. I super agree. Yes, I mean it adds something. You could probably measure it, but I don't even know if it would be a degree. Probably not. So sobrang minuscule. Gentleman Parrot for 2 additional weeks. MECQ. To be honest, I've lost track of what that means. I don't know anymore. What's GCQ, ECQ, MECQ? Kasi yun nga, we just try to be as safe as possible regardless of anong mga letters are involved, kung GCQ, ECQ, or something like that. But we'll review it for the shop, what the exact guidelines are, so that we can advise our staff accordingly. Another nice thing about the Z590 is it has built-in noise cancellation. And I talked about this with the ROG Strix Go, the Go 2.4, and I loved that was another thing that Asus lent us. I really liked using that thing. No offense to the Corsair Void headset that I'm using now, which I just stole from my brother Rafael. But I really enjoyed using the Go 2.4 that also had built-in noise cancellation, and we tested it out using a big fan. So if you watch that review video, may malaking fan, and I have it on, and you can't hear anything on the audio. And as it turns out, because we're using the Z590 now inside the test bench, I wanted to test it out also, the noise cancelling capabilities. And I have brought the same fan from that review, and I have it, because I'm very cheap. If you know me, or if you've been following, some of our videos, I'm super cheap. So the aircon is off, and the other aircon is off also because I'm cheap. It's just me in the shop, so electric fan na lang. But actually, the electric fan is quite loud. But correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you guys can't hear anything. But I'm seeing something. I'm seeing something sa OBS, so you might be hearing something. I'll need to replay it back later. There. See, now there's nothing. So yeah, I'm testing out the. Yun, actually, based on the meters here sa OBS, actually I'm a bit loud. You should not be hearing the whir of the fan, and I'll review the YouTube later if you can hear it. Although yun nga, the Go 2.4, I don't know if it uses the same technology as the Z590, if it uses the same built-in hardware noise cancellation as the Go 2.4, but that one's really impressive. So I expect similar impressive things from the noise cancellation of this guy, of the Z590. Dante from Facebook says na pretty impressive noise cancellation. Although Gentleman Parrot says there is a bit of wind noise. I'll review it on the video later. Although to be fair, I super went up close. So actually now in the shop the noise is super audible, but I don't think you guys can hear it on stream. So that's a typical use case, like you're in a meeting and you have fans on, or you have usually there are cars always in the background there and tooting their horns, and you shouldn't be able to hear anything like that with the built-in noise cancellation. BJ David, yes, confirms na no noise from the fan. Yeah, this is actually I'll record a video, which is how I did it with the Go 2.4. I have a video where you can hear the audio but then with the noise cancellation wala, so that we can use it also for the review of this guy. Best torture test is tricycle. Actually, maraming dumadaan dito sa Eskinita sa likod. Although it is Sunday now and it is ECQ, so the traffic volume has diminished. But yeah, sometimes it gets pretty loud here. I do like the location very much of the second shop. If you're new to Hardware Sugar, you know that this is our second shop. The first one was also in Makati on Buendia. It was super small. I'm super glad we moved to this much larger place. But one of our medium-term goals is actually to have our own place, like to find a plot of land and to set up a really cool shop. Kasi it's different if you really own the land, so you can put whatever the heck you want on that spot, and you can design the store however you want. But it'll still be kind of like this out-of-the-way place. Ito, our current store is in Makati, pero medyo tagunga siya. It's on Giho Street, pero you don't... the parking is very good, but it's not on a busy street. That's why I like it. So it's kind of laid back vibe. Except yun nga, may eskinita sa likod where a lot of cars pass sometimes. Eves from YouTube. Yes. Sorry, Eves. I remember that's how you pronounce your name. This is the one that my brother reviewed quite recently. I think 5 videos ago or something, before his man cave videos, which you should check out also. I think he released the man cave video last Friday. And the response has been pretty good, but to be honest, he's kind of freaked out that he invited, basically the public into his room, and now, you all know what his room looks like now, and you can kind of fit the pieces together to kind of figure out where he lives. In fact, he's gotten comments na, oh, I know where that is, I passed by there. But he deletes the comments because he doesn't want to make it easier for people to trace where he lives. So for the record, Rafael and I live in different houses. He lives with my parents. I live with my family because I'm married. So we live in completely different houses, which is why I find it super amusing. Kinakabahan siya na, yun nga, shoot, now people can kind of figure out where I am and things like that. So that was for me, I found that quite amusing. That's the fallout from that video. Luigi says from YouTube, pimped out standalone shop. Yes, that's really what I want. Parang dami kong ideas for, like, how would I do it? Like, if I had freedom to design the shop. First, I want like neon. Like, I want a neon sign, na hardware sugar. Neon, onion 24 hours. I want like LCD screens outside. So parang it's like a very futuristic vibe. But when you step in, kind of same atmosphere that we have now, and it's kind of wood tables, wood shelves, very open space. Although yun nga, the shop has become a bit cluttered lately. Definitely a corner, like maybe definitely multiple floors. Definitely somewhere there, like a corner where I can shoot my YouTube videos. Because now I'm just doing it in the shop when nobody's around. So a lot of things na I want to do sana, pero yun nga, sobrang mahal. First you need to buy land, and then you need to put up the thing. So benta pa more, basically. So that's the thing with the Asus Mobo. Let's take a look a bit. The next thing we have are the cables. We've gotten a lot of cables in stock, and these are the Cooler Master ones. What's nice about these cables is, everybody wants a PC that looks unique, na customized, na parang hindi lang dekahon na, oh yeah, I saw that build, and it's just, yeah, parang gawa lang, no love involved, no care, no customization. And I think that's why RGB is so popular. Yes, it looks good, but it also allows the person customization, di ba? Parang maiba yung computer para alam mo talaga na sa'yo yan, ikaw pumili niyan. And an easy and cheap way to do that is to add these colored cables. These are extension cables, so they plug into any existing PSU cables that you have. Pero tago mo yung mga... You will still use your existing PSU cables, but you cable manage them in such a way that they're just in the back or they're in the rear. So kita lang, for example, like this. Although these cables, notice this is a white cable. So if you bought one of those extension cables on my back, the PSU cables will still be here, maybe like behind the shroud, and then all that could be seen are the colored cables, or the extension color cables. So we have white, black, recently back in stock from Cooler Master, blue, black, white, pure white's always very popular, green, black. Surprisingly, a lot of people ask us, like, do you just have pure black? Like, for whatever reason, I don't know, bitin yung existing PSU cables nila. And yeah, they always ask us, do you have pure black? So we stock now pure black. Again, I don't know why. Usually in our experience, the existing PSU cables, kahit anong brand yan, sapat na yun. But anyway, we have black by popular demand. And then we have red, black. These Cooler Master kits all come with 24 cable combs, I believe. And that's another thing that people always ask about the cables, like extension cables and things like that. How many cable combs do they come with? Again, I personally don't understand that question. Like, what's everybody's obsession with cable combs? But anyway, that's why I take note now, because a lot of people ask. All of these CM guys, I think, come in 24. We also have Phanteks. Same idea, extension cables. Red, black. I think this is red or orange. What's this? It says red. So red, black, red, pure white, blue, black na stripe, gray, black na stripe, and again, pure black extension cables. And over here, orange and green. Yeah, so these cables are a fun way to customize your computer, to kind of set your computer apart, and you make it unique. A lot of people like all white builds, and we'll talk about those builds there in the background a bit later. But I really like it when someone takes a build and uses orange, for example, or green. Kasi they're having fun, they're being creative with the PC. And it really, a dash of color really adds something. Hindi lang siya yung boring na black or boring na all white or things like that. So, that's why. And to be honest, yeah, I need to... Lami from YouTube asked, do we have the Core P5? No, we do not. Usually we have the P3, but it's out of stock now. We do have the P1 in stock. And I think I replied to you on Facebook because somebody recently asked me about the P5. We also have the P90, which is a very cool looking case. But we don't have the P5. Fritz, I love Phanteks. Yes, Phanteks pretty good. We've sold these cables for quite a long time. Nobody's ever complained. We also have the P400A. This is the airflow edition. So there's like a mesh here in front. And the P300, which is somewhere there in the back. We also have that. Oh, here. P300 na Phanteks. P300. These are the digital Phanteks. P400 also. We have them both in black and white. But actually, I don't know if you can see this, but this is the one I really want to build in. ITX Evolve Shift 2 Air. I love the original Evolve Shift, which they've since improved and they put more circulation. They made it the air variant. So I think there's a mesh on the side, I think, or something like that. But I've always admired that case. We've sold the initial Evolve Shift a couple of years ago. We were carrying it a couple of years ago. Now it's back in stock with the Air, the updated version, and we want to build in it. So if you have an ITX build and you come to us, we will most likely push the Evolve Shift on you because it's not because we want to sell it. I mean, we do want to sell it, but it's not like we want to get rid of it. It's because I think it's a very nice looking case, very interesting, and I want to see it. I want to see a build. I want to see a build in it. Last about the cables, it's actually quite difficult for us to. They're kind of like medyo hassle silang i-stock kasi yung ang dami nila, so it's easy to get confused by how many of the whites do we have. Ano ba yung X type versus the S type, which is the Phanteks model designations. And with it, they're not a big markup, to be honest. So we really stock them as a labor of love for the enthusiasts, for the guys who are like, yeah, I want cables, and yun nga, kasi they are a very easy and nice way to customize your rig. So it's not. Yeah, they're not great business, to be honest. Yes, we make a profit, but sometimes they sit in the shop for months, especially the less mabenta na colors like the green or the orange. But whenever they're in stock, we stock them. Kasi yun nga, yeah, we think they're cool. I think they're cool, and we want to make that available. Again, with the thrust of the mission of Hardware Sugar is na cool parts for cool people, and we try to have interesting stuff, even if not necessarily na sobrang mabenta. The kind of things nga that you maybe wouldn't see regularly in more mainstream shops. Ito talaga, once they're in stock, we restock them. And we're actually interested, like cable mod. We get a lot of requests for cable mod. Sana kung may local distributors sa cable mod. We actually carried some cable mod stuff before, but at the moment we don't have any. It's a bit difficult to get, to be honest. Yun nga, walang local na supplier. So I think the last cable mod we had kasi inuwi ko pa galing States. I shopped at. I mean, I'm gonna be upfront, man. Sometimes I shop at Micro Center just so I can bring like 1 or 2 samples back to the shop and sell it here. Just because I like the tech. And I think the last cable mod we had was something like that. And I just bought in retail in the States. It's not something that we can easily get here, and then we sold it in the shop. I saw another familiar name, Shania Twain. Good afternoon. Thanks for watching. I actually gave you a shout out in the last live from Hardware Sugar, which is I think like 2 weeks ago. Terrence Mark, who has been messaging me on Facebook about his new build. Specifically about the cooler. I think we got it out to the Hyper 212 or the Gamax, if I remember correctly. Yeah. So I do because I do answer a lot of the Facebook questions, and I see all of your Facebook comments. Actually, the Facebook comments not so much kasi ang dami, and Facebook doesn't have a good system of showing it all to me. All of the YouTube comments I do see, and I do reply to 95% of the YouTube comments. But again, YouTube filters it. I don't get to see everything. I just go by what YouTube sends me na, ito yung mga bagong comments. So I don't get to see everything. But yeah, I'm super active like with the Facebook and the internal the PM messages to the shop. Like some days it's Jay, who's our other tech guy, but you know, some days, especially like on when everybody else is on holiday, that's me replying. That's why yun nga, when I was playing Valheim last Friday, 1 to 6, wala sumasagot ng mga, wala. Hardware Sugar was basically down kasi it was a holiday, so nobody was in the shop. And it was supposed to be me answering, but I was busy playing, so no one was answering anything. And I did actually have a customer call me up asking na, you know, I paid via credit card. Can you just confirm na pumasok yung payment? And then I was like, I was in the middle of something. I don't know, I was chopping wood or something. So I had to tab out of the game and then check, and I'm like, yeah, it's okay. And then I had to jump back into the game. So yeah, we're super hands-on here at Hardware Sugar, which is why I do remember some of the names that appear in the chat. Yep. Okay, so next up, we're gonna talk about GPUs. It's in shadow because of the Amaran here, but we only have two GPUs left, and they're both the 6700 XT, which is roughly equivalent to the 3070, the RTX 3070. So we only have two. To be honest, this is the entirety of our GPU supply. And again, as I said in the previous live from Hardware Sugar, I always have like imposter. Let's stand by the fan kasi naiinit na ako because I'm too cheap to turn on the aircon. See, there's the fan there. One of the things that gives me imposter syndrome is na we're always running out of GPUs. One reason for that is we allow people to buy them without any bundles. So you can just buy in and get the GPU rather. Most shops, or a lot of the shops I know, require you to buy the motherboard, the processor, basically the entire computer. We don't believe in that. We think that's anti-consumer. But you know, whenever somebody asks us, wala ka bang 1650 or something, and then I say na, sorry, sold out na. And we are actively trying. We tell all of our suppliers, you know, we want to buy. Just sabihan mo lang kami pag may available na, pag may allocation na. Kasi yun nga, agawan ngayon kahit sa mga supplier, agawan eh. So, may internal allotments, and it depends if you're, you know, magaling yung kausap mo from the supplier. Then I really don't know when GPUs will come in. They just wala, papasok na lang sila, and then like magva-viber na lang sila, sir, ito available, kukunin mo ba? And that's the only time I know. There's no heads up, there's no advanced warning. And yun, that's our situation now, where we have exactly two GPUs left in stock. You know, the 6700 XT is again roughly comparable to the 3070. So, you know, before that would be like a mid-range to upper tier gaming PC, but now because they're so effing expensive, you know, people ask all the time, so what can I do with this budget? And I'm like, well, you know, medyo 48,000 na yung available namin na graphics card. So that's like a whole computer before, back in the good old days when prices were sane. But if you're a YouTube member, you do know that we do have some other cards coming in soon. I won't spoil it. I'll just announce it when those cards come in. But the YouTube members get advance notice of all the stock that we have coming in. I also mentioned last time that we have a glut, or we have an oversupply of motherboards, because yun nga, a lot of the suppliers ask you to, sir, bibili ka ng graphics card, kailangan bundle. Mobo, CPU, as in grabe na talaga mga bundles ngayon. So we had an oversupply of motherboards, but I want to say thank you. Let me face the camera. I want to say thank you to you guys for answering the call, because our Mobo supply has greatly diminished. I mean, it's not too bad na lang. In fact, medyo kulang na ulit kami ng X570s. We're all out of the Tomahawk Wi-Fis na MSI. So we still have these A320s, but these are kind of, you know, cheapy Mobos, and the A520s, so these are still new, so that's fine. These are ITX, the X570i, so that's fine. We actually had the B550i, quite popular from MSI. Those sold out. We have one Bazooka. So actually, this is pretty good na. We've sold a lot of the Mobos, and so we're clear to buy again. You know, next time na may available na graphics cards. Next time may available na graphics cards, we can, no problem, dun sa mga bundles. So yun nga, we need motherboards. Actually, now I need to buy motherboards again. And that's the thing, you know, running a small shop like this, you're always like, palaging kang kinakabahan about something. if it's not sorry. If it's not shoot, you know, ang daming stock, kailangan ibenta. It's ay, wala na, kulang na yung stock. We need to restock. And you know, that's the I don't know if that's just me. Medyo I like to have a decent supply of stock, but at the same time, kung hindi mabilis yung benta, parang kinakabahan naman ako na, shoot, mabebenta ba natin to? Malulugi ba yung shop? So, one of the hard things about of running a small PC shop. So those are the motherboards and the GPUs. Robbie asks from YouTube, what can you say po sa NZXT AIO? Here we are. Again, if you're just tuning in, the motherboard here is the Z590, courtesy of Asus. They lent it to us, and you know we're doing a review of the motherboard, but just to have fun, we decked out the review unit. Well, actually, you know, we didn't even need to put it in a case. We put it in a nice case, the Deepcool Matrex 55. The camera I'm using as the B-roll is a bit old, so you can't really appreciate it, but it's a very nice looking case. And for the cooling, we have a Kraken X52 AIO. What can we say about it? It's very popular. They recently come out with a variant that already comes with 2 ARGB fans, yung ano nila, yung AER2 models. And yeah, the design is quite popular. But actually, we did a review quite recently where where we pitted the L240 Deep Cool. So the X52, the Kraken, is around 7.5, I think. And this guy is around 3.8 or something like that. So this is the Deep Cool L240 AIO Gamax. And in our testing, actually, the L240 beats the Kraken, at least in terms of cooling performance. Sorry, it doesn't beat it. If I recall the results correctly, medyo pantay lang sila. But I tend to think that it beats it kasi sobrang mura nitong Deep Cool compared to the Kraken X50, the Kraken series, the NZXT Kraken series. I mean, and they're both 240 rads. You know, they both come with RGB or ARGB now for the Deep Cool one. So in terms of performance, that's why I think I say that the L240 beat the X52 because yun nga, ang layo nung same performance but ang layo nung price. Sobrang mura nung Deep Cool. Gentleman Parrot, I remember someone asked this, will you consider marketing second-hand GPUs? Actually, yes, we that's something we've been considering doing for a long time. But yun nga, the hard part is taking a gamble on buying second-hand GPUs. What we might do is, if you're a Hardware Sugar customer and you bought it from us, you might be able to sell it back to us. That's a program that I'm thinking about doing for the shop. But of course, you know, you're gonna have a Pawn Star situation. If you watch the History Channel show Pawn Stars, you know, people are always coming in and they're always like, oh, may Z590 ako. Magano bigay mo sa akin? And let's say the Z590 costs 15,000. I don't know what the exact price is right now. But for example, let's say this costs 15,000. Pupunta ka sa store, it's second hand, and you're like, okay, I'm gonna take 14,000. But of course, the store needs to make money. There's also storage space. There's also admin expenses. So this one, which was initially 15,000, and the owner thinks he can get, sige, 14, 13,000 kasi second hand, they're gonna offer something like 8,000, and they're gonna sell it something like 10,000. So feeling ko that's what's going to happen with the second-hand GPUs. Na, you know, we offer to Hardware Sugar customers na, sige, you can sell your GPUs back to us, but then baka the customer will be the expectations of the customer are very different from what he will actually get. Kasi yun nga, from our side, we still need to sell we will sell them for profit. We run the risk if the GPU will break down, because even if it's second hand, and you've seen this in our discounted items list, we still give the 1 year no BS shop warranty. That's non-negotiable for me. We'll always offer that regardless kung brand new, second hand, whatever. So the shop does run a lot of risks, and that's why we would probably lowball the offer for the second hand GPU. And from the point of view of the seller, the customer of Hardware Sugar, yes, medyo lowball, but from our point of view, hindi din. Kasi yun nga, we carry a lot of risks which the customer doesn't feel or doesn't see anymore because once he gets the money, yun, tapos yung usapan, di ba? The transaction has been consummated. So yeah, I've been thinking about it, gentlemen, but there are logistic things like that na I still, want to consider. And to be honest, there are always a lot of projects I want to do for the shop, and between the YouTube and running the shop and stuff like that, there are a lot of things na parang, yeah, I guess it can wait, parang ganyan. Fritz from YouTube asked, when companies send items like the Mobo you're using, for example, you have to return it after your review. It honestly depends. This one we're definitely returning, but sometimes companies will tell you outright, like when Deepcool lent us the case, the PSU, and the AIO. From the get-go, even from the initial discussions, they were like, yes, again, please review these. We'll send you the items, and then afterwards you can keep them. Sometimes, like Asus, usually lahat ng items ni Asus lend lang yan. Pero sometimes afterwards, after the review, they'll be like, okay, you can keep it. One example would be the Zen Wi-Fi AX Minis, which I super liked. Although they also let me review the RTAX 3800 or something. I'm sorry, I forget the exact designation of the router, but I super love that router. So good. And that one Asus didn't let me keep. Actually, I kind of hate doing Asus reviews because at the end of the day, parang you're like, oh, bad, this is so good, sana they let me keep it. And again, I've been accused dun sa comments na sell out and things like that. Na, I just say nice things so that Asus will keep sending me stuff, and that's totally not true. In fact, if you watched Marvin's Asus monitor review, they lent us a 24-inch monitor, and I think it runs at 144 hertz, and it was Marvin's first time to try a gaming monitor talaga. And even me, it's only recently that I've upgraded to a faster hertz monitor. Anyway, so Marvin's review actually had like he pointed out na here, like you can see on the backlit of the monitor, ang dami mga splotchy parts, and generally don't want that in an LCD display. You want like the LCD display just to be like, if it's black, it's all black, and then if it's all white, it's all white. You don't want these spotchy parts and things like that. So Marvin mentioned that in his review, and to be honest, when I watched the draft, I was like, man, because that turns off a lot of customers, and I was like, Asus might get mad. But at the same time, we're reviewing it not for Asus, but for you guys. And we're very upfront naman if it's a paid review or if they just lend us the item. They had no editorial discretion. So I decided, what the heck, that was Marvin's experience. I asked him, Marvin, if for context, is my friend that you see quite often on Pwede Magtanong, our live tech show. And that was Marvin, he also knows his tech, and that's what his experience with the monitor was, and the good and the bad he put it there. So yeah, that's what we published, the good and the bad. So we are very honest about our reviews for the shop, not just for Asus, but for all of the brands that we review, because we're very fortunate to be may dumaan na motor. I don't know if you guys heard it, but that's a noise cancellation. Yuck. Asus simp. Just when I'm like, no, we're very like impartial, and we don't make sip, and then the next chance I get, I'm touting the noise cancellation, the built-in noise cancellation of the Mobo. But anyway, we're very fortunate that brands send us stuff to review. But that wouldn't be possible without you guys, because you have 54,000 of you have subscribed to the channel, and we owe it to you and to ourselves, because I'm not the kind of guy that like I don't like making sip. If that's one thing, like when I used to have bosses before or professors when I was a student, I don't like making sip. And for me, that's a form of making sip, diba? Na you just give a good review para matuloy yung good relationship, and they'll keep giving you free stuff. But for me, that's a no-no. So all of our reviews are what we honestly think, and if it were paid to highlight a certain feature, that's also we also make that very clear in the review. So to go back to the initial question, usually it's always like the item is lent, and then afterwards they'll tell us na, oh, if you want, you can keep it. But sometimes from the get-go, they will tell you that, yeah, we're sending you this item. and you can keep it after you review it. Usually that happens for the overseas brands without presence here. For example, T-Force has a presence here, but they like sending out items mismo, like the marketing arm sends out items mismo from Taiwan. Like when they sent us an SSD for review, and the review is on the channel now. They've actually also sent us RAM, which we've also reviewed. It's also on the channel now. They've also sent us new things, which Rafael, my brother, is reviewing now. Pero to be honest, hindi ko na maalala ano ba rin ni-review niya. So, if it comes from abroad, usually they're upfront and they tell you na you can keep it, don't send it back to us anymore kasi yun nga, parang papadala pa sa Taiwan, pupunta dito, babalik sa Taiwan. So, you know, to cut the whole logistical thing. Usually if it's from abroad, for keeps na yun. Although last na lang about this topic, I think for brands especially, wait, run out of saliva. Last about this topic, I think for brands especially, Hardware Sugar is a good deal kasi if it's just to another kind of tech YouTuber who doesn't have a shop, and it's very uncommon actually that, you know, a shop has a YouTube channel that runs kind of independently from the shop, like independently in the sense that we have a lot of items that we don't carry in the shop, but we review for the YouTube channel. But the nice thing for the brands is, you know, they send us stuff, and then after we're done with it for the review, we actually display it in the shop. So NZXT has done that for us. Asus has done that for us. That we're actually, you know, we review it, and then we also have them in the shop so that when customers come in, they can appreciate the product for themselves. Kasi yun nga, ibang-iba when you can actually see it in action. And that's what happened with these guys. The K3 Mobo from Asus, they lent to us for review. M3 Mobo also lent to us for review. And now it's what we use for our test bench. This monitor, even before sikat yung channel, like, the shop was very early on. Like, we were like 1.5 years into our existence. We hit 3 years this June. Asus kindly lent us this monitor, and we use it every day in the shop now. And when people come in, they can see like the quality nga of the Asus monitors. So for brands, I think it's a good deal. And yun nga, the test bench we're using now is the Deepcool. A lot of the components are the Deepcool components that Deepcool lent us recently. So for the brands in particular, I think, of course I'm biased, but I think Hardware Sugar is a nice deal kasi aside from the publicity you get from the YouTube review, you also get publicity for when people come in, or added exposure for your products kasi yun nga, when people come in, they're looking to buy, and it's really different if you can see the products just in front of you and you can try it out. Yun. Sorry, John Ruben Ocha. Thank you for your membership, and what's up? Sorry, I'm only catching up on the like 43 minutes ago. I'm still on the messages from 4 o'clock. What's up, internet? From Valiant Cashew. Thanks for watching. I know you're always Valiant Cashew is always around. Sorry, there are just so many comments. I can't. Yeah, as I mentioned before, the problem with but one of the inevitable consequences of just a one-man show is that I'm doing everything, and it's difficult for me to answer the comments. And then it's not like I'm a professional streamer. I've watched some of the streamers, and they're super impressive the way they can just kind of like banter with the audience, like what they see on chat, and they'll react to it. But usually, most streamers na yan, di naman naglalaro, di ba? Nakaupo lang, tas yung medyo pa-cute, di naman ako cute, di naman mahaba buhok ko, like I can't play with my hair and things like that. So, I do try to stick to the topics. I mean, I do meander, but you know, we do have an outline, and I go through the outline. So it's hard for me to juggle everything, like the outline and then with the comment. So if you guys, please don't take it. I would like to answer and reply to all of the comments, but it's just na yun nga, ang dami. And yun nga, well, it helps that some of the names are familiar, like Revin Jan, always around. Yes, thank you. Thanks for watching. And of course, ITX Addict from YouTube. ITX Addict has, I don't know if he'll mind me saying so, but he's bought a lot of stuff from us. So thank you. It's really, and I do enjoy actually taking note of the stuff that you buy because they're really good quality products and like the NR200 and things like that. A couple of months ago, he bought like 3080s, I think, or 3070s. I can't remember actually kung natuloy yun or that's the one that got vetoed. But yeah, so a lot of familiar names in the chat. So let's get to the builds. We have 3 builds actually. We've been fortunate that kahit ECQ, a lot of people have asked pa rin to build. Although nga, medyo mahirap since wala si Gerald, but Jay is also a very good tech. Oh wait, yeah, I'm gonna show you. Okay, I'm gonna lower the softbox. Man, look at the size of this thing. But I'm super naaliw with again, thank you to Henry's Camera that gave us where we bought the Amaran 200D. Okay, then actually this is only at like 15% power or something. And again, this is a one-man show, so this is me doing everything. Let me orient the camera here so you guys see. So we have 3 builds. I'll just walk you guys through what we have currently. One of the, I was talking about future plans for the shop. One of them, sana, would be like to have a. Oh man, that camera angle is no good. Too high. Maybe if we put it here. Okay, that's better. Yeah, one of the things. Sorry, excuse me. One of the things, sana, if we had budget was medium-term plans is actually to upgrade also the production value of the stream. So like we have actual people. Parang siyang ESPN, like pwede magtanong will be like a panel, and then we'll all be behind a desk, and it'll be like ESPN. We're just bantering and talking, and we'll accept live questions from the audience, hindi lang through chat, but through you can call in. Although actually we're gonna be doing that this next Friday. We're gonna experiment with that. But in the meantime, it's itong DIY aesthetic and kind of figuring stuff out as we go. It's also kind of fun then. Anyway, first up, we have the most expensive build. This is around 120,000 pesos, in part because of the 3070 in here. And then now everybody's gonna ask, magkano yan, sir? Magkano yan? To be honest, I don't remember. It was a Galax 3070, so actually the Galax cards are quite reasonable. This customer specifically said no RGB, so this is a stealth build. Very beautiful fractal design Meshify case, ATX case. Yeah, I just love. I don't know if you can notice on camera, but there's kind of like a bumpity bump. Their angles, this front panel's angled, but it's also like mesh, so air can pass through it easily. So you got this is actually a 5000 series CPU. It's the R7 5800X, if I remember correctly. This is a Phanteks CPU cooler, the PH something something. I love actually this cooler. It's so. I mean, the performance is right up there with the big boys, the NHD 15, Noctua, and the Dark Rock. The Be Quiet Dark Rock Pro 4. The thing is, it's kind of old, and Phanteks really push it a lot, and it doesn't have a catchy name, so it tends to be dismissed easily. But you can see the white and then the black and then the radiator fins. They're not they're so, it's so premium. So it's one of those big boy coolers. And so this is a stealth build. Deliberately no RGB. This was around 120,000 pesos nga. This is a Gigabyte X570 Mobo. I think it's a Gamer X Mobo, if I recall correctly. And yeah, I mean, this is a nice looking white and black build. We have 2x16 G-Skill, 3600 megahertz. Just zoom in on the RAM there. And what more can be said? You could have gotten this build for around 80,000 maybe previously, but now since GPU prices are so crazy, and it's not GPU prices, like everything else has gone up also, and it's using the latest CPU, so that's why it's at around 120 now. I think this entire build was. All of these builds actually are good to go, so customers can come in and pick them up. Actually, I'll be contacting the owner of this guy later. This one after ECQ na to, and then this one actually pwede rin he can come in na. I forget what storage. This is a 1 terabyte SSD, I think. I think it's a SATA 2.5. Parang hindi naman ata siya nag M.2. Yeah, and actually you can see the M.2 slot. At least the visible one. Although that's usually the auxiliary, not the one closer to the chipset. yeah, so no RGB, very good looking, and I guess also it's sayang it's kind of dark, so you can't really appreciate the how. Ah, wait, well let me orient it towards the light. Fractal design is one of those cases na yan. So you can have a very nice looking build without the RGB if that's what you're going for. Very understated front panel. Then it has the parang logo here. So very European minimalist aesthetic. This is actually for a customer. If you've been following like from 6 months ago, he is an OFW in Saudi and he bought his son's twin computers. He has two sons and he bought two computers na exactly the same specs. Kasi mahirap na magaway yung magkapatid. This build is for his daughter. It's a H200, Thermaltake H200, very nice burnished feel here for the front. This is a RGB LED front panel. And what's nice about it's actually a nice button. The front panel also looks good. Problem with white is na you can see every little speck of dirt. One interesting thing about this case is that it's on hinges. So the side panel is not the usual type like with the fractal design that you kind of like slide off or you mount. This one is you can see the hinges here. So it's super easy to gain access. Then it's magnetic, so it's super easy to swing and gain access to the case. Corsair Vengeance RAM na white. This is a 1650 GPU. I'm not looking at the chat, but if somebody hasn't mentioned it, somebody wants to mention it. Na how come it's an M80X Mobo in an ATX case? Actually, we did this to conserve money, to lessen the cost of the build. You notice also that the Season, this is 550 watts? What's this? Sorry, 650 watts. It looks a bit diminutive, or it looks much smaller than the case shroud can still accommodate. Again, no need to go nuts with the build since it's for his daughter. He was like, it just doesn't need to be like a gaming PC type. And actually, the customer was the one who chose all of these things, but we recommended like, oh well, if that's your budget and he's like this, parang ganito ganyan. But like he chose the case, the white RAM, and things like that. So overall, actually very clean looking build pa rin. Very, but talaga say white parang napaka austere niya. Mesh top panel with the usual magnetic thingy, so it's easy to remove and then to clean. Yep. So performance build around 120k. This is around 50k. This is basically a mid-range rig now, but yun nga, this is the last 1650 that we had in stock. And then we move on to the ITX build. This case actually did not come from us, and this GPU did not come from us. So we always get asked that a lot. You don't have some of the items that we need or that we want. Can we buy it from elsewhere and then we'll buy the rest from you, tas kayo mag-assemble? And we're like, yeah, sure, no problem. And basta the only rule is na the majority of the parts came from us, we'll assemble it for free. And so this is an ITX build, the case not from us, and the GPU not from us, but everything else from us, including the SF450 SFF PSU or small form factor PSU for ITX builds. ITX Addict, if you're watching, this is an ITX build pero very minimal RGB, so I don't know if you would approve. But this is a very trippy looking case. It has actually quite similar, the feeling of the front is quite similar to the fractal design. And it is perforated, so air can pass through the front. Because it's an ITX build, very compact interior. These are the parts actually. The B550i came from us, and the CPU is an R5 3600. So there's the Mobo. The RAM also came from us here, and the Corsair SF450. To be honest, the case, the case is very minimalist. So I guess that's something you want for most ITX builds. I mean, because of their size, would tend to minimalist the minimalist approach. But I kind of like my cases a bit more exciting. But I mean, no shade to the owner. That's what's awesome about PC building. You get parts that na bagay for you, that turn you on. Doesn't need to turn on anybody else. So that is the Silverstone SG13. And those are the 3 builds that we did this week. Yeah. So, how long have we been going na? Oh, we're about to hit an hour. I mentioned already the GPUs before. I just wanna shout out we do have a new AIO in stock, the Cooler Master. What do they call this one? ML240L V2 ARGB in white. And as everything Cooler Master, the price is very reasonable. It's very good performance. It's really bang for your buck. We try to stock as much white as possible because white is in demand. The Capellix. Who's this? JV asking thoughts on the Elite Capellix here. You're asking about the H100, no? I have the H150i, which is the 360mm rad. I'm assuming the H100 is the 240mm rad. I don't know. To be honest, I haven't looked up the performance reviews, but just in terms of aesthetics, I really like the Elite Capellix. So much so na ibang-iba kasi yung CPU block niya. Very, very unique. So much so that like if I were to do a build for my own personal rig, I parang it's in the back of my mind now na maybe I should put in a Capellix. But again, I haven't looked at the performance. But just aesthetically, I really dig the CPU block. And then, so still on AIOs, yun nga, I like how understated the CPU block is on this thing. So it's the CM kind of shape, but you don't have CM here. It's just a very understated look to the AIO. So that's why very classy ba. That's why we thought to stock it. JV, naka-off ba membership? No, it's still open. I mean, it's open. You can join us. I mean, you can join the membership. Let me check it now. I'm checking it now, but I don't think it's off. I mean, it should be on. Yeah, it says join, and you click join. Want to join this channel? Yep. Yeah, so the YouTube membership is still up. The link is actually in the text description. So that's actually all I had going for today. Looking around the shop now to think like if you want to like there's any other stuff that I want to talk about or feature. We did get here. We got a restock kasi of Cooler Masters. You notice a lot of the things I talk about during this stream are Cooler Master. This is the first time we're stocking the MH670, which is the wireless naman. We usually stock the 630. It's there in the corner. The 630 is a very good budget. Well, hindi naman budget kasi there are more expensive ones. But for the brand name, for the marquee brands, the MH630 already comes at a very decent price. And the MH670 is a bit more expensive because it's wireless and things like that. I have not personally tried it out yet. But we got it because the MH630 is such a popular seller and we haven't had any people complaining about it. So, overall general good quality of Cooler Master. So that's why we went ahead and got the thick MH670. Kevin Jan, still waiting for the day I joined the YouTube membership. It's okay. Join when you can. No pressure naman. I mean, you're always there in the videos. So I mean, you're liking and commenting and things like that. So you know, that's super. That support is already super helpful for us. Any thoughts, Lian Lee Galahad? I've only heard about it, to be honest. I haven't really followed it. If like how good the performance is and things like that. I don't even know what it looks like. Let me look it up. Let me tab out. You know, we live in a golden age. It looks good naman. Circular CPU block. We live in this golden age where there are so many. You know, we're spoiled for choice. There are so many good brands. There are so many good products. Na it's, to be honest, it's really hard for me to keep up. Just in terms of like, should we stock this item? Will this sell? Is this something that, you know, our customers would be interested in? So, and actually a lot of the time nakakainis na a brand will announce something pero hindi naman available sa atin. So that always annoys me. So, just some cases. We do have the Core P1, which is the smaller cousin of the Core P3. The ever popular TD500 mesh, also from Cooler Master. And we have the Thermaltake Level 20 VT, which is a largish MATX case. Comes with, it's a very distinctive looking case. And it comes with a very big, I'm trying to remember, is it 200mm or 150mm or something? A very big front fan na RGB. And of course, the NR200P back in stock for P1. We're actually supposed to get the, yeah, so again, the fan has been on the whole time and you can hear the roar in the shop, but the built-in AI noise cancellation of the Mobo is canceling it out. And I'm curious to replay the video later to find out kamusta ba. Well, let me crank it up. Let me crank up the fan. Also because I'm feeling hot. Yeah, and since we're basically done, I'm gonna okay, I'm gonna shoot the fan and you guys so we can include it in the video. Just so that, am I recording? Yeah. So just recording that, you know, I'm doing the live stream and the audio is what it is, and then we have the fan going full tilt, and then so it's easy to compare later, like this was what was happening in shop, the audio in the shop, and then, but like this is the only one that you can hear. Okie dokes. Carlo from YouTube asks, where's your shop? It's in Makati, on Giho Street. Actually, we have a, let me pull up the link. We have a whole page on the site just dedicated to like an area map and directions how to get to us, how to contact us, and things like that. I think Easter was 1 week ago, and I know it's late, but we do actually have we put up 2 Easter eggs on our website. So I'll show you one just because, again, yeah, let me show it on I'm gonna flash it on the stream. Saglit. How do I do this? Oh, that's not it. Wait lang. Yeah, so if we had better budget, like we would have an actual guy who's like more familiar with. Here we go. Yeah. Okay, so you guys are seeing now my browser screen, and we go to the Hardware Sugar website. This is the contact us page where it's the area map and things like that. One of the Easter eggs, we put in 2 Easter eggs, and one of them is there's a new product category now. You go up to products, then you go down here to Soul Survivor. This is these are all of our items that we only have one item left in stock. So kumbaga siya yung natirang matibay. Everything you see on the Soul Survivor filter, yun nga, we only have one left in stock. It again, yeah. So you notice the GPUs is just one each of the Sapphire, then one each of the XFX. Wala lang. I just thought it'd be a fun kind of small tidbit na to filter the products of the site. And we are a small shop, so a lot of our products are like this sort of like, oh, isa na lang natitira. So that's why I had my guys put in the Soul Survivor filter. There's another, okay, thank you, browser. There's another Easter egg that we put in. But I will, actually it's not very hidden, so you can find it. Actually, it's the link is there on the front page, but I'll leave you guys to discover that. Two new, how did you? Leah Magnaye, 2 new super subs. Yes. Did I say? I think I greeted them at the start of the stream. I should have, because I have their graphic here. Oh, not that graphic. Yeah, that graphic. Yes, I do recall saying hi to Allan, who just joined us, and David Go and Melvin del Rosario, who re-upped, who confirmed that yeah, sign me up for another month. So thanks so much, guys. Topi, HWS is our preferred seller. Basta may stock. Yes, thanks so much. To be honest, a lot of other stores have better stock, the bigger stores, but we really try to have good quality products, and we're constantly trying to restock, especially GPUs. Mox22 from YouTube, do you have a video on how to assemble a computer unit? We've never done one, actually. One reason is because a lot of other people have already done it. But yeah, I don't know, for me, I have a bias towards, I like making novel or medyo unique na videos in the sense that you don't see a lot of people doing them. And I know that seems kind of parang that sounds kind of conceited na, you know, we're not like the first tech YouTuber ever, right? So a lot of ground has already been covered by a lot of other more seasoned and, to be frank, much better channels. But I really try to come up with content that, if it's been done before, we try to put a new spin on it, or it's never been done before. Like I'm really quite happy with the types of PC builders video na medyo comedy na it's, you know, kind of poking fun at, you know, people in the hobby, including myself. I mean, I can see myself also in those types of builders na yung the critic, yung NR, well, no, for me, like, di siguro NR kasi I really like tech, and like when we get something new, I'm like, wow, look at that. Let's do a build. Wala pang nagpapabuild. Sige, okay lang. Itapon natin sa test bench para lang makita natin. So maybe not the NR, but like the first guy, yung matanong, I guess, you know, I can also ask a lot of questions, but not as much as the Riddler is how we talked about it. So I mean, that's one video that I haven't seen in any local or international YouTube channel. You know, it's kind of like poking fun at the people in the, you know, builders. Like, I'm a builder, our customers are builders, and things like that. So to answer why we don't have a how to build a computer video, it's like, you know, number one, a lot of people have done it. Number two, I have a bias against doing things that a lot of people have already done. But yeah, siguro that's also why we don't have videos like 20k build, 25k build. And yes, I understand that's popular, and maybe if we did that, you know, we'd be at 75,000 subs now or something. But for me, to be honest, parang ang boring eh. I don't get excited thinking na, oh yeah, let's do a video about 20k build, 25k build. Parang it doesn't excite me. Maganda, it's not the price, but kasi it's like a 25k, slap a 3200G on it, and basically that's what you're gonna get, right? Yung maganda kung, and I think I mentioned this on the other streams before, like 25k budget, but you get like from the previous gen, like an R5 2600, medyo mabilis na CPU from the previous gen, and then like, and get second hand, like, don't get the top of the line what you can get for 25k from the current gen, but get from the old gen na baka mas mabilis pa. Now that would be an interesting build. Now that's something I would be interested in doing. Anton from Fixit, who we interviewed 2 months ago, I think, for in the industry, we've actually been talking about it na yeah, we should have a contest, like all the tech YouTubers ng Pinas, dapat may contest na may budget tayo. Sino makagawa ng pinakamabilis na build within that budget? So actually Anton from fixit.ph came up with that concept, and yeah, and I told him I'm on board, and we're still trying to figure out the mechanics and things like that. So that would be something I'd be interested in doing na medyo unique, medyo hindi pa nagawa. Kaysa sa yung mga, ang dami ng mga ganun 20k build, 25k build. Yes, and to be fair, it's good, it's useful naman for a lot of people, but yun nga, medyo, I find it kind of boring, not because of the price, but because of the, medyo alam mo na medyo alam mo na ano yung papasok dun. So, yeah, it would be better like a 25k build, but yun nga, you explore the secondhand market, like what can you get, and would like, and then you OC it, like, should you spend more on cooling para you can overclock Ryzen 1000 series, parang ganon. And then you have a stock 25k that's 3200G, and then that would be your best benchmark for testing that, parang ganon. Leah Magnaya from YouTube, Scrapyard Wars Pinoy Edition, parang ganon, yeah. And we're still trying to figure out the mechanics. Anton from Fixit is still trying to figure out the mechanics. Roland from Facebook, pang mayaman, ang gusto mo, kaya boring. And again, no, it's not that at all. It's really, yun nga, cause it's boring. If you just do a 25k build, yeah, 3200G. Actually, we send out a lot of quotes like that. So it's like 2x8, 240GB SATA SSD, and then a 1TB hard drive. You can get that for like 24, 23k. But yeah, there's nothing creative there. So something like you go to the GPU market, you see what kind of secondhand you can get. You get a first gen Ryzen and you overclock it. And then you test it. You benchmark it against your base 3200G model. Actually, you can get much cheaper from other shops. You can get 18k builds, 15k builds. But here at Hardware Sugar, kasi we really push the get 2 sticks of RAM, so that's 2x8, and get an SSD. For the love of God, please get an SSD. Kahit yung 240 lang, which is what we recommend for our 24k builds. Kasi sobrang laking quality of life issue. I know a lot of people don't agree with me on the internet. That's fine if you don't agree. But every fiber of my being, every experience I've had, personally and through the shop, pushes me to recommend getting an SSD for any build, kahit anong budget yan, 15k, 20k, 25k, because it's such a big quality of life issue. And I'm amused by reading the comments online na parang, I don't mind waiting, I don't mind saving the money, but I really can't get on board with that viewpoint. For me, an SSD, and you can get a cheap one. Like our cheapest one is the 240GB from ZOZT. It's like I think 1.8 or 1.7 or something like that, which I personally had to pick up and inaccuse pa ako being a scammer, which is again one of the videos we have on the channel. So yeah, I mean, for a 1700, there's no reason why you should not have an SSD in your build. People fight me on this online, and up to now, I mean, the first video where I really said it was in the PC building mistakes video, because for me, I really think it's a mistake not to have an SSD. But people online up to this day, they're like in the comments na, di naman kailangan yung SSD, di naman mahalaga, and yeah, of course that's your opinion. But from my point of view, everything that I've experienced on my own and every build that we've done in the shop, yeah, I'm an SSD simp, or an SSD fanboy. I'm not even that bad. you know, I don't even push NVMe SSDs. NVMe's are the fastest type of SSDs. I don't even push those. For me, okay na yung SATA SSD, the 2.5-inch. I don't even have an NVMe SSD in my personal rig. So, it's not that parang inisip ko SSD ka agad kasi para lang pinakamabilis, pinakamahal, whatever. But for me, and I think that's what a lot of people who are just getting into building don't realize is that every recommendation is a trade-off eh. It's not ang dami nagtatanong what's the best build, but you really can't answer that kasi depende yun sa tao eh. If you don't mind waiting, God knows how long to load Windows, and I mind. That's why for me an SSD is a must, but for some people apparently okay lang sa kanila. So there's really there's no best build na everybody will agree this is the best build. It's best for you. And when I make recommendations, it's what I think would be best for the person based on what I've experienced, what we experienced in the shop. And I cannot imagine someone saying na wag na yung SSD. But kung may ganun, yeah, no problem. That's up to you. But then at least you have 1,700 pesos more to spend on something else. Sorry, so many comments have gone by already. BJ David na best torture test for the built-in audio is the built-in noise cancellation is the tricycle. I saw a meme going around na yung makalaban ng work from home, yung mga manok, yung mga karaoke, yun nga, yung mga trike, parang ganon. So, the Asus tech for the built-in noise cancellation, super useful. Especially now that a lot of us are stuck at home. Fritz, sorry, this was like from an hour ago. Fritz from YouTube says the B550F has AI noise cancellation and it works pretty well. Good to know. Marion, hello po. Node lang po ako. Thanks for watching. Tylo from YouTube says, I had a PC built from your shop, but I can't play the games that I want to play. Unfortunately, I do not know why. I also don't know why. Message us on Facebook. Could be a bunch of things. Again, is it crashing? Did you update the drivers? What kind of games are you playing? Yeah, so message us on Facebook. We'll get to the bottom of that. JV from Facebook asks what wireless headset I'm using now. It's a Corsair Void RGB Pro, I think, wireless. Not mine, my brother Rafael's. Oy, Chi Games donated pala 50 pesos. Thanks so much, Chi Games. Sorry, this was at 4:27. I hope you're still watching. Thank you. Wala kasing audio to eh, so I can't hear the usual. Usually I set up an audio alert for when somebody, you know, sends stickers, but this one doesn't have kasi I'm just streaming from the shop. Oh, ITX Addict also pala sent stickers. Sorry guys, thanks so much. I'm only seeing the stickers now. Paul Edwards, can we transact credit cards online? Yes, our website, all of the payment methods are integrated already in the website. You can use credit cards, BPI transfer, GCash. Fritz just mentioned down the AI noise cancellation of Asus is super good. George from YouTube, what games am I playing? Right now, I'm playing Valheim, and I'm trying to finish MechWarrior 5 Mercenaries. Yeah, but I kind of fell off the horse in MechWarrior 5. I need to get back into it. Titanfall, people have recommended it to me. And I did say that I would pick it up next sale. Yeah. Another hard thing running a small PC shop. Can't play Valheim all weekend. I know, man. I know. Just scrolling through the comments. Matthew, Facebook, pwede ba magtanong? Pwede ba gumamit ng kahit anong brand ng PSU extension? Yes, in general, like these extension cables, they will fit with any brand. That's a nice thing about extension cables because they're meant to work with your existing PSU cables. So the manufacturers make sure na compatible yan sa lahat. Iba yon sa if you buy replacement cables. That one, you really need to check if it will work with your PSU. Kasi we had a bad experience. Not the fault of the customer. Actually, it's kind of our fault, actually. I mean, to be honest about it. The customer was like, I want to replace my cables. Corsair RM750, yung PSU, if I remember correctly. I want to replace the cables with all white. So we got him, cable mod cables. I think, were they cable mod? Basta we got him replacement cables na all white. Tapos, pucha, hindi pala compatible. And that was my fault. I was the idiot. Kasi I just assumed na, they're PSU cables. I'm sure pwede yan. Hindi pala pwede. This was early on, yeah. This was early on in the, this was maybe around maybe 2 years ago. That's one thing I've learned also, is not to assume, to check every darn thing. You assume na, yeah, siguro compatible yan. Pala hindi. So, we got the customer the proper cables, to finish that story. But that's the nice thing about these extension cables, is that the manufacturers really know that ikakabit dun sa existing PSU cable. They're not replacement cables. So they make sure that they're widely compatible. Robbie from YouTube asks when the new NZXT Mobo is coming out. I actually don't know if they're releasing it here, kasi NZXT Philippines doesn't make available all of the possible NZXT products. We sell cases, we sell AIOs, but I don't know if they're bringing the motherboard here. Actually, kausap ko a month ago maybe yung bagong NZXT country head for the Philippines, and he was telling me nga that he wants to bring in more stuff. So we might be seeing the NZXT Mobo. Although I haven't heard from him, or hindi ko rin siya kinulit na what can we expect from NZXT this year. If you want, we could probably have him on In the Industry, like we had with Marvin from Deep Cool for the last month in the industry. If that's something you guys want to see, comment it, and we can make it happen. Aaron from YouTube, ano po ba mas magandang unang i-upgrade para tumaas yung FPS when playing CSGO? Processors ba or GPU? That's a good question, kasi medyo infamous yung CSGO for being CPU intensive. And actually, I just repeat what ITX Addict says. It really depends. You run it, and then you see saan ba naka-bottleneck. Are you kulang ba sa GPU or kulang ba sa CPU speed? Christian from YouTube, kailan dadating si Intel 11th Gen? I'm really not too sure. To be honest, we don't usually stock Intel. But you can if a customer wants an Intel build, you can custom order it from us. We'll custom order the CPU. No added charge naman yun. But we don't usually carry them in stock, to be honest. Kasi 9:1 or 10:1, how many CPUs we sell of AMD versus how many we sell of Intel. And again, I'm not an AMD fanboy, I'm not an Intel fanboy. It's just that the reality of the market now is it's much easier to recommend Intel for value for performance. But we can't get an Intel build. And quite recently, one of the most recent build videos we did is an Intel build. Although yung title nga is finally an Intel build. Kasi we don't usually stock it a lot. Vic LR33 from YouTube, do you have an Office Viber? We do not, although we do have a mobile which is dedicated to the shop, although that's not on Viber. The number is 0917-140-3344, which is also on the contact page of the site. Loreto from YouTube asks, can he buy an RTX 3060 and then ship it over to California? I've never done that before, to be honest. And you probably have a better chance of getting one. I mean, I don't know where the closest micro center is to you, or Amazon or Newegg, but probably have a better chance getting it there. We actually had a question before. We had a request na nasa Guam siya if he could buy our GPUs. Pero yung concern ko doon, I've never sent international shipping. I've never sent, an electronics, large electronics via international shipping. So I honestly wouldn't know how that works. Fritz and ITX na bathtub stream and yung hardware sugar only fans reference to the LTT April Fool's video. And it's amazing actually yung LTT video na yun. And then the next day Linus was like, "Oh, now we're one of the top we're now one of the top accounts on OnlyFans." People are crazy, man. But I think secretly Linus likes it. Why else would you be selling underwear if you don't secretly want to hear people clamoring for an OnlyFans of you? We're definitely not going down that route. You do not want to see that from me. Revan Jan, that's a beefy cooler. I think referring to the Phanteks cooler in the stealth build that I showed earlier. Stealthy, yes. Roland, do you accept international cards? We do not. We used to do before, but to be honest, we were getting scammed. People with the credentials, like the credit card number and then the CVC or the three-digit code in the back. And actually, to be honest, it gave us a lot of grief. This was around 3 months ago, I think at the start of the year. We knew they were scammers because, they would buy items using the international cards. We would ship them out kasi pwede naman yun sa site namin. Yun nga, everything is integrated, including the delivery. And then we would get messages from people like in South America saying that, my card got charged to your shop and this is COVID time and can you please send us our money back? We really need it. I'm like, damn, man. I mean, so yeah, I want it sana to be super easy to use. And we do have customers. Yun nga, like we have an OFW who lives in Saudi who's bought 3 rigs from us now. And if he wanted to use his card, pwede sana. Pero yun nga, these scammers use international cards. I don't know how they get them. To be honest, I've been tempted to make a YouTube video out of it na ituloy natin kasi we know where the addresses are. So, deliver natin yung items and then buy bust or something, basically. But that's a lot of effort and I don't want to get shot at. But sorry, I shouldn't be laughing about this, but I'm remembering the botched buy bust between Pidea and PNP, I think it was maybe a month ago. So anyway, there's a lot of stuff that might go wrong if we do a buy bust. But we do have the delivery addresses of those scammers because they need to get the items because they're not the type who they use the card, they're gonna charge the item, charge the delivery order, and since they want it delivered, we have their addresses. So I've been tempted to do that, but basically that's why we don't accept international cards now because scammers use it. And it's not even like we got scammed because we were super diligent in parang sketchy to kasi medyo there are other indicia of fraud there. There are other behavior that they do that's kind of like, okay, medyo fraudulent ka na, so we didn't send out the items, we canceled the orders. Pero, they kept hammering us, man. They kept coming back. They kept charging and charging. We had to keep canceling. Sobrang sakit sa ulo. So at the end of the day, our payment processor was just like, you wanna block na lang international cards. So like, yeah, sige, that's what we did na lang. Vic LR33 mentioned where to be yun nga I don't want to confirm or deny because Rafael nga is touchy about people figuring out where he lives, but just to be clear, I do not live with Rafael. He's in the new place. He's in my parents' new place, so I don't live with him. Although damn, that's a nice house. I wish we had something like that. I don't live in such splendor. Can I ask for a formal quote also from Vic LR33 for a spec with a 3080? Yeah, you can, but to be honest with you, we don't have a 3080 in stock, so the only thing we can offer you right now is the 6700 XT. Um, so you can message us on Facebook, and then we can, we can give you a quote for what we have now. And the inevitable question becomes, well, when are you getting new GPUs? As I explained earlier, I really don't know kasi the suppliers just spur of the moment na lang yan. Parang magva-Viber lang yung mga yan, walang heads up, walang anything. Magva-Viber lang mga suppliers ko na, sir, may in stock na 3080, 3090, 3070. Do you want it? And they know they know that I want it. So that's just like a formality. But it's never a heads up. They just, and I'm fortunate na we have good relationships with the suppliers kasi unahan nga yan sa allotment, sa who they offer it to first. So I'm fortunate that we have good relations. And why wouldn't? I mean, to be honest, kasi Hardware Sugar pays in cash. We don't. It's not a credit thing. Once we order, we pay for them kaagad. And I know a lot of the big stores may credit. They have credit terms with the other suppliers, and I've been like, we bought a lot of stuff, man. We should have credit terms, but I've never pushed it with the suppliers. And so we do enjoy very good relations kasi we pay up front. To be honest, yung iba naiinis nga ako kasi sometimes it's like you order it pa from Taiwan and it takes like 6 months and I have to pay 50% down. I'm like, bakit naman ganun? I mean, I'm good for it. We've never had a bad order with anybody. Like, if I say we're gonna get that item, kahit X amount yan, bibilin talaga namin yan. I don't, pag na-order ko na yan, walang, ay, sorry, nagkamali pala ako, or, ay, sorry, nag-back out kasi si customer. Pag sinabi ko na i-order ni Hardware Sugar, bibilin niya ni Hardware Sugar. So, I'm kind of annoyed sometimes with, there's just one supplier na, sir, kasi kailangan talaga 50% down. Tapos maghihintay kami 6 months or something, man. 6 months. Parang, natutulog lang pera namin. I'm like, bakit naman ganun? But I think for the most part, you'd have to ask them, diba, to get the full side of the story. But for the most part, I think we have good rapport with the suppliers, and they never tell us in advance. That's just the way it is. They'll just message out of the blue na, hey, do you want this card? And of course, we're like, yes. Gosh darn it, yes. Okay, so it's still ECQ, so I should be moseying along home now. So thanks for joining the stream. I always actually enjoy these live from the shop, except na I always run out of saliva. But it's my way of catching up with you guys. So I mas nakatutok ako dito sa chat sa live from the shop. And it also gives me a chance to talk about the hardware, and I'm a big hardware geek, which is one of the reasons why we put up Hardware Sugar. So please join me for Tuesday night, 9:30 p.m. That's the next live stream. Yun naman yung media diet, where basically I'll talk about the games that I've been playing now, the books that I've been reading, and the movies and the TV shows that I've been watching. So still related to computer hardware, pero hindi super nakatutok. And then of course the Walang Kamatayang, everybody's favorite show, Pwede Magtanong, which is next Friday, April 16 at 9:30 p.m. There's this one last thing I wanted. One last thing I wanted to mention is on the YouTube channel, I posted yesterday na a poll where I asked na, how comfortable are you guys building? So it was, I've never built, like I just buy pre-built, or I choose my parts but somebody else builds it, or I choose my parts and I build it, nobody touches the rig but me. Or number 4 was na I build professionally, like I get paid, people pay me to build. And I was super, I find the responses super fascinating. Like 500 plus people have already responded to that poll, and 50% say that they choose their parts and build the computer. And I was surprised by that. To be honest, I was surprised by that kasi a lot of the videos that we're known for are these very, very beginner videos, like bibili ka nung pili na PC part, and then what are the basic things you need to know. Or even yung top 5 building mistakes are building mistakes that, attract a beginner crowd. So I was actually quite surprised that a lot of our viewers are, not to say that I didn't think you guys are knowledgeable, super based on the comments, I know that, but but those are the hardcore they follow the streams, and they comment on the Facebook and things like that. But 500 plus people, and out of the 500 plus, 50% na said na I choose the parts and I build it. So So I'm actually quite impressed with the technical ability of a lot of the viewers. Yun nga kasi I just thought that a lot of our subscribers were yung beginners talaga, still trying to figure out. Nothing wrong with that. In fact, I love it that the videos can help bring people into the hobby. Yung mga dating na-intimidate, dating natatakot magtanong. Ngayon parang, sige, I kind of understand a bit more. I mean, not naman to toot my own horn and say na maganda yung mga videos and informative, but we do get comments na, I was a bit confused, but now parang na-interest ako sa hobby and things like that, and I love reading comments like that kasi nga, bringing more people into the hobby. But based on that, maybe I had a different notion na, beginner level yung karamihan, but apparently not. So we might have more advanced content in the future. But I need to level up. Because yun nga, I'm not I don't know everything. I'm always very transparent. I don't know everything about tech and things like that. So I should research more before we dive into the deep end, like hard tube water cooling, which I really want to get into. Or at least, if not me, to be honest, my hands are not so good. Like I'm not very that's why I'm upfront. Kapag building, I let the guys Gerald and Jay do it because their cable management is so much better than mine. And I don't know if I could do the hard tube thing, but so maybe we'll do. Bottom line, I'm super fascinated by the answers to that poll, and we will maybe tweak the upcoming YouTube videos to kind of reflect that, to maybe like delve into more. Because I really tried to make it less like blah 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 specs, blah 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 megahertz, blah blah blah, and more like yun nga, yung very conversational, very this part is fast, and in relation to this part and to this game, so more like easier to follow. But maybe we can do some videos na you like blah 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 tech, blah 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 tech. Since a lot of you guys are comfortable naman with that. To be honest, I'm not too comfortable with that because it's hard to remember all of that tech. So I'll have to major research pa and choose the right topic and things like that. But super interesting poll. If you haven't voted yet, please vote there. Just yun nga, so I can get to know our audience and our customers better. Sige, Lockhart. 10K budget, kaya po ba? Not with us. I don't know. I don't really follow the builds of other shops. So I don't know if they could get a decent 10K build. George asks, kamusta yung, are we getting Hardware Sugar merchandise? To be honest, I really do want to. Again, that's one of those things I want to explore and have been talking about with Rafael and with some other people, if we should push that. And I do want to do that. But there's just so much stuff going on that that it kind of gets pushed to the side at the end of the day. But that is actually something I do want to explore more in the future. Tumbler, shirt, magnets, just those kind of basic things. Pero yung gagawin namin, exclusive lahat. Kumbaga, limited run. We're gonna have like 100 shirts in that design, tas we'll never sell that design again. 100 designs of that tumbler, and then we'll never sell that design again. So to keep things interesting. And lahat, kumbaga lahat limited edition. Kasi yun nga, limited edition talaga siya. That's how we would approach merchandise. Pero definitely, walang OnlyFans. As a joke or otherwise. That's not happening. But the merch idea is something that we've been kicking around for a long time na, to be honest. I should sit down and think about it. Kaiser, and thanks. Kaiser is one of our regulars, especially dun sa Pwede Magtanong forum. Thanks so much for always answering a lot of the people's tech questions there. And I really appreciate it, especially dun sa tech forum. You can't, you get all sorts of questions. It's really hard between Facebook PMs and the PMs and, the YouTube comments. So that's why we're trying to funnel everything to the Pwede Magtanong site. And it's really good to have knowledgeable people like Kaiser, like Gentleman Parrot, like Mary Ann Castillo, like there's another lady on the Pwede Magtanong forum, Milares, I think, starts with an M also. She's a very big Linux user. Ma'am, I'm sorry, I just can't remember your name like exactly right now, but she's also very active in the Pwede Magtanong forum. Very big Linux user. So I'm super thankful for the guys who helped me out there. And who help out others by answering tech questions in the Pwede Magtanong forum. Alright guys, I gotta go kasi baka may mahuli na ako dito sa shop. for breaking quarantine kasi ECQ pa naman tayo. If I don't make it home, somebody, it's my phone. Somebody's actually calling the YouTube. Sorry, somebody's actually calling the Hardware Sugar number now. But I'll answer him later. So again, thanks for watching. Stay safe and see you 9:30 Tuesday for Media Diet. Peace, guys.